Welcome to the More Than Fitness podcast.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Minisode number 130. All right, today's Minisode, we're going to talk about fasted training and fasted cardio. What I mean by fasted is you just wake up, you're in a fasted state, you haven't eaten for several hours. I think the true definition of fasted, I want to say it's like 4 to 6 to 8 hours-ish is what kind of truly puts you into a fasted state. But we're talking about eating and or doing cardio on an empty stomach, right? Because I think a lot of people are kind of forced into doing this. Not necessarily forced, but it's the most practical or most convenient just given our busy schedules. We wake up, we're not always hungry in the morning, so then we just want to go do some cardio, go to the gym, get in a workout. And I think some people have also heard over the years that fasted cardio may burn more fat, or fasted training, fasted workouts can burn more fat as well. So that's what I'm going to cover in this minisode. So first, I think what's the most important umbrella lesson here is that the best type of training, whether it's fasted or fed, is the training that you can do consistently. So adherence, right? That's always going to be number one. Worrying about the minutia between fed or fasted doesn't matter at all if you don't even make it to the gym in the first place. So take everything I'm about to say by considering your trade-offs. If waking up and just going straight to the gym fasted or doing cardio fasted makes you feel good, allows you to get to the gym in a timely manner, it works with your schedule and allows you to be more consistent, then by all means, please continue to do fasted training. I think worrying about whether you're fasted or fed makes very minimal difference for the most part, but there is a difference. And that's kind of what I want to cover here. But I wanted to make that caveat first of adherence and doing whatever works consistently for you and your schedule is going to be most important. Okay, so the short answer of this question, so does fasted workouts or does fasted cardio burn more fat? The very simplistic answer for the most part is no, right? The studies have shown that for the most part, between fasted and fed cardio and workouts, the amount of fat that you're burning is going to be about the same. I think what is actually the big factor here isn't the amount of fat that you burn, but it actually comes down to muscle gain and muscle retention and your performance in the gym, right? Because fasting is catabolic, right? So fasting is not conducive to muscle growth, right? Lifting is also catabolic because you're in the gym, you're breaking your muscles down. So if you go an 8-hour period, let's say you slept for 8 hours, you wake up, you haven't had any food in 8 hours, and so you're already in a catabolic state just from sleeping, and then you go to the gym and then you do another catabolic activity on top of that, well, then you're really kind of not maximizing the amount of muscle growth or muscle retention that you could potentially have if you ate some food beforehand. And even more importantly, which a lot of you listening to this could be in a calorie deficit or a diet or in a fat loss phase, this quote unquote risk only becomes greater whenever you're in a calorie deficit because you don't have as much energy availability or nutrients availability on a day-to-day basis to begin with, right? You're already eating less calories to begin with, so you don't have tons to go around. So whenever you're dieting and in a hypocaloric state, whenever you're in a calorie deficit, it becomes more important. Meal timing becomes more important. And so this is why with my one-to-one coaching clients, I typically tell them, hey, if you normally train fasted, I understand. And if you have to keep doing that, like I mentioned, go for it. But in my professional opinion, I would recommend at least have a protein shake beforehand. So you can fast like you normally do, but just only consume some protein within your quote unquote fasted training period, right? This is going to offset at least a little bit of those potential catabolic risks that I mentioned. One thing that I do know has been going around that's sometime in favor of these fasted cardio or fasted training arguments is the release of growth hormone. So whenever you're in a fasted state, your body will release growth hormone to trigger certain things to happen in the body, basically for your body to use fat and carbs as fuel whenever you're in this fasted state. But I think what people automatically think is, oh, my body's releasing growth hormone, so that means that I'm growing. Because people just hear growth hormone and they're like, yay, growth hormone, that means I'm growing. But that's not the case. The only time that works is whenever you actually are in a fed state. So whenever you have nutrients and energy available, whenever you have calories available, then you have the growth hormone on top of that. And also, whenever people are thinking growth hormone, they're probably thinking of like exogenous growth hormone that's being injected into people. So thinking of like steroids and bodybuilders and things like that. That's definitely we're talking about normal ranges here of growth hormone and natural secretions of growth hormone. And so, yeah, that only works whenever you're in a fed state, and whenever you're in a fasted state. What that growth hormone is doing is all of your cells, basically that already have nutrients in them stored. It tells your body, hey, let's use those nutrients to fuel our training or everyday life, right? That's what the growth hormone does, but it does not mean that it's conducive to muscle building. Right. In fact, it's kind of the opposite, because it's taking those cells from different tissues, right? You have fat, you have muscle, et cetera, et cetera. So it's taking nutrients from these cells that could be going towards muscle growth, recovery, et cetera, et cetera. So on a net score, muscle loss is probably a more likely outcome than muscle gain whenever you're working out or doing cardio in a fasted state. So growth hormone, while it sounds like it would help things out, it actually does not. It's just the body's natural response to being in a fasted state and trying to make some energy available for us to use. So shout out to the body for its physiological responses. And then one of the last things to cover is people want to, so they are doing fasted training or cardio. They're like, okay, should I just take some BCAAs? Should I take some branched chain amino acids before I work out to sometimes people think that they're still in a fasted state whenever they consume only BCAAs, branched chain amino acids, but they're not. So BCAAs are still basically food. It's protein, right? They do have calories, even though they aren't listed on the nutrition label for most BCAAs. And because of that, so one, you're already breaking the fasted state. So if you think that you aren't, you are. And if you're going to do that, and if you're gonna have some type of food source before your workout, albeit the minimal effective dose, it probably makes more sense, because it's cheaper and it's going to be a higher quality protein, to just consume whey protein before your workout as opposed to BCAAs. Whey protein is going to have a more complete amino acid profile. And that just means that there's more natural amino acids available to use as opposed to BCAAs. So branched chain amino acids are specific types of amino acids that are also found in whey protein, but whey protein has other amino acids, essential and non-essential, to go along with it. So that would probably be more conducive to muscle gain than the BCAAs, and it would probably be cheaper as well. So yeah, it's kind of a win-win there, and kind of a no-brainer. But again, I would say that BCAAs are better than fasted. So it goes whey protein first, or like a meal, basically, a meal / whey protein first, then BCAAs, and then fasted training. That's kind of how I would do it. And yeah, we're getting nerdy. We're getting nerdy in this episode. I'm putting my nutrition degree to good use. But yeah, so that's kind of the arguments, pros and cons, for and against fasted workouts and fasted cardio. Again, I think for the most part, people typically do fasted stuff because they just like it because it feels good. People feel like skinny when they wake up. And I understand you do feel skinny because you're fasted. You don't have much food in you. It's digested, et cetera, et cetera. So they think it just feels intuitive that you go and then you work out or you do cardio. You just feel like you're burning more fat. And unfortunately, the feeling is not enough. But either way, I would recommend at least a small snack before the gym, something like whey protein and maybe just, some berries or a small banana or a small apple or something like that is going to be better than being completely fasted. All right. And that is it for Minisode number 130. Real quick, rate, review, subscribe. These really help out the podcast. I need to do these. I need to tell you guys to do this more. I meant to do it in the beginning of the episode, in the beginning of the Minisode, but it really does help. So if you enjoyed this, rate, review, subscribe on Apple, iTunes, anywhere podcasts are found. And then also, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell, like if you like it, leave a comment. All that kind of good stuff. Clearly not good at this. But that's it. Minisode 130. Thank you guys, as always, for listening and for watching. See ya.